we thought, I guess maybe our primary customer might be like a younger demographic, and I still think it is, but
Mhm.
like we actually saw a lot of older people too, like 60-year-olds and stuff, who like love brownies. And I think, we don't try to fight that, because
Mhm.
if those customers are naturally like gravitating towards, the offering you're providing, I mean, I think that's like a good thing. You probably want to like double click into that and play into it, rather than, I don't know, be like, no, this product's not for you guys. It's for like trendy, young people or whatever it is. We love all, folks from all different ages. And
Our whole goal isn't to like hit any one consumer. It's to hit those consumers who want that authentic brownie experience. All right, guys, welcome back to the Behind the Food podcast. Today I've got Jack and Jacob with me from Brownie Bites. I also have my co-host Daniel.
What's up, guys?
Um, yeah, what is up, everyone? And we're live streaming on LinkedIn again, which I'm really excited about. LinkedIn doesn't show the live stream to anybody, but we're going to keep doing it anyways, even though LinkedIn hates LinkedIn Live. Doesn't make any sense. So guys, tell me and Daniel, we just want to know, I guess, like usually to begin with, like how'd you guys get started? What what made you want to start Brownie Bites? And how's it been so far? Yeah, I mean, first thing, so Jack and I have been best friends for like 9 years now. We met at American University in the dorms there. We're on the same floor, became roommates, best friends pretty much ever since. And we always used to love like the gym and food. The gym kind of went to the wayside. The food has definitely stayed the same. Yeah, we really just felt that there are a lot of great products out there that are getting developed now that cover a lot of different topics. People who want like healthier options, people who want more like protein things. And we felt there was no really proper take on a brownie anywhere in the grocery store in our view. We feel that honestly, especially compared to like Jack's mom's recipe, which we're based on, that there's no take that really focuses on like the fudgy center, the crispiness, and it's sort of like an American classic that feels like it's missing in every grocery store across the country. So we really wanted to take that authentic feeling of it and bring in some new and exciting elements to it. We use like inclusion toppings. So we really want it to be like an homage to a lot of great American classics. So that comes from like Ben and Jerry's, where Jerry couldn't have any mouth or taste buds. So you could only do mouthfeel. So we love doing the toppings on top of our stuff. We love the idea behind Poppy of being sort of a ubiquitous brand, somewhere that can really be, a wide thing where you can have someone like running the runway and then someone in the middle of Arkansas who's enjoying it too. And it's like really sort of a timeless and a classic thing that everyone can sort of enjoy because everyone has that moment from childhood, whether it's a brownie, an apple pie, whatever dessert it is, that they like really feel that connection to like sort of childlike joy and wonder and like good feelings and just great vibes.
yeah, 100%. I'll add to that, we just tried to take the best attributes, like he was saying,
Hmm.
of all those different companies. And then one, too, that also I always think that stands out is kind of like Tate's cookies. I don't think,
Hmm.
they didn't invent the cookie, but they made a really great, like, homemade version that anyone's able to go get. Theirs are, more on the crispy side. We actually focus more on like the fudgy texture side. So a lot of people are actually shocked. They usually say like, "Wow, how's it so like moist?" It tastes very homemade when people bite into our brownies. But then, yeah, we took those other attributes, do the different flavors and textures as well. So we have like a s'mores, a cookies and cream, rolling out maybe a Christmas or winter flame themed flavor. We're excited about.
Yeah.
That's super cool. So right off the bat, we're in the CPG space. My number one question is you're doing something that's high moisture, right?
Hmm.
So, bioactivity, right? Is this thing shelf stable? Is it fridge? Like, where does this sit in the grocery store?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is shelf stable. So we really worked and focused on the quality of the product. So we're 35% chocolate. We use premium vanilla, double grade butter. We use a few different processes. We worked with a great team to ensure the food, like, our first priority really was ensuring that the food was like something safe, enjoyable, because it ruins the whole childlike wonder if you like get sick from something. So thankfully we're shelf stable. We have 9 month shelf stability. We have a couple secrets we won't say, but one is that we focus on like using a lot of innovations that work in other categories. So we use like a nitrogen flush in our bag. So if you ever see our bags, they're a little puffed out, and that really helps keep the flavor up. And then we all just focus generally on much more of the chocolate content because it helps versus the flour, or if it's just sugar, then it just cannibalizes itself and it gets super moist and that becomes a whole mess. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll say too, just like, reiterating on some of the stuff, like, I feel like a lot of companies obviously take the path of least resistance because usually it's like cheapest and
Mhm.
fast. So I think even with the containers, you'll see a lot of these like 2 bite brownies, and then, like they'll use the clear container, and then we do, I guess, like the nitrogen seal. So it's like taking extra steps and packaging them differently. So that helps with the shelf life. And then using the high quality ingredients, Jacob was touching on it, like the 35% chocolate. I think the chocolate itself gives it really, really like that mouthfeel, just very like moist and good texture. Because a lot of other brownies, if you look, some of the first ingredients you'll see are usually like water or flour, and that dries out very fast. And because it dries out fast, it actually, is very like stale tasting, I guess. So that's one of the main things. But yeah, from the day
Mhm.
one too, we knew we really wanted to make a really great product with, great safety and shelf life. And then that's why we went to like a food scientist team actually too. So.
So 35% chocolate.
Mhm.
Price of cocoa is, been high lately, like a lot of things. So that's a pretty bold choice from a COGS perspective.
Yeah.
How does that affect the way that you guys build out the business model so that you're actually like, hopefully making money at this?
Yeah, and I mean, I think that's really what's been pushing us a lot to expand out because we're trying to basically fight inflation and obviously the rising price of cocoa generally. So we're trying to really be effective in ensuring that we're providing a quality product that people actually want to pay for and won't regret later, especially in a time when people are much more conscious on calories. So we're kind of willing to take the hit and also take the risk because we think it's something really missing in a lot of grocery stores. Again, like we personally enjoy 2 bite brownies, we enjoy little bites, it's not about us being like, oh, they're not like a good product. They're good for a different type of consumer. Like we're trying to create a product that really like appeals to people who just want that sort of authentic homemade or bakery quality brownie. And it's either inaccessible or it's like inaffordable. Right now, especially in this economy, a single brownie from a lot of bakeries is like $10. And a lot of the country to be able to make a quality brownie like this, first of all, you're gonna have to spend like 2 hours making it. You're gonna have to get like $40 or $50 worth of ingredients. And ultimately you're not gonna have like enough people probably to enjoy the brownies, so they might go bad. Way,
Yeah.
way too much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one thing too is like again we want to be a very mass market product, but I think we're like slightly elevated, and I just say slightly because like we try not to be so, elevated that it's like again like a $15 gourmet luxury top of the line brownie. That actually isn't like the focus. We don't want to just only be an Erewhon. We're only like 0.1% of people can enjoy that brownie. But I think too, it's like it is again slightly elevated. So I think again, Tate's is like a great example. So maybe it's like a little more, nice than like Oreos. So we do use some higher ingredients, but we try not like, and again, Poppy I think is a good example too, where it's like maybe slightly more expensive than a Coca-Cola, but not so expensive that the mass market, like your average person can't still buy that like little upgrade, basically. So I think that's
Yeah.
where we kind of try to sit.
Yeah, and I think to add to that, it's kind of like we're very much a flavor first company. So our priority is giving you the tastiest product that you can enjoy. It's not about having necessarily like the most insane ingredients possible or doing single origin. We obviously want to factor that stuff in. We're hoping to work with the Chocolate Only Foundation going forward once we scale up enough. But we're really trying to focus on like giving you an authentic taste of brownie as best as we can at a price that's accessible for everyone. And that's really sort of the balance between the affordability aspect of it, obviously the flavor being first, and also the accessibility. So really being the type of thing you can just pick up at your local 7-Eleven or again at Erewhon. It's not that we're trying to exclude anyone. It's we're really trying to just give people the option to enjoy tasty brownie.
Nice. So you're not at the point of sale, you're not at checkout because you're not trying to compete against Hershey and Twix, and you're not necessarily the candy aisle either. Are you guys like sitting in the cookie aisle? Like where are they putting you in the grocery store right now?
Yeah, yeah, it tends to be in the cookie aisle. We do sometimes go up by the front. It depends. It's had really great. Thankfully, we've been very fortunate to have a lot of great support, especially in New York, where we're primarily based right now. So that's been getting a lot of traction. We're also moving to 1 bite, so we will be moving to front of store too, which will be exciting.
Let's
But
go.
that's obviously you have to be at a more competitive price point there. So we're focusing on the 1 pack there. That way consumers can try the product. We also have like a ton of hotels, airlines, offices, all of that are really interested. So we're trying to just create the product that we know our consumers want and just move in that direction too.
Yeah, 100%. Just kind of like a Reese's peanut butter cup or something with
Hmm.
that one pack. And then I think how we are sometimes in some stores, like you're saying, in the front, we use like clip strips.
Hmm.
So the bag, again, that's actually slightly like, a differentiator too, because a lot of the brownies, again, are in sometimes those like plastic tubs or something like
Hmm.
that. So that allows us, I guess, to be, able on those clip strips, which is cool. But yeah, usually you'll find us buy some of the cookies or other like packaged snacks. There's a lot of snacks these days too in like the pouches, which is like fun. But yeah.
Yeah, people are definitely shifting to pouches more. But also, I think, like, to you guys' point, like, the consumer is not necessarily off put at all these days by, like, raising the quality or raising the bar on quality. Because I
Hmm.
think what's happening is, like, people have kind of woken up to the fact that like a lot of things aren't the greatest experience. They're just attempting to have they give you like the cheapest food, or like
Mhm.
I guess the most value. Like, hey, we're gonna like load this thing with like sugar and whatnot, and like maybe it'll taste good and like it's cheap. But I think by raising the bar, you guys like mentioned Tate's. It's a great example. Like, hey, like they had a bakery that was killing it,
Hmm.
and then they were like, why don't we take these things that we're doing in our bakery and then like blow them up in CPG? And I think first of all, it's a great playbook, but second of all, like they're just elevating the experience. They're like raising
Hmm.
the bar for the consumer, and like yeah, like inflation's gonna kill you anyways at the grocery store. You might as well just pick up a slightly more expensive item, especially when you're gonna get a better experience.
Mhm.
Um, it's weird. We don't have a calorie problem anymore, and now we have like a quality problem.
Hmm.
I would say like if anything, like I don't think anybody is like, oh no, I can't like buy enough. Well, we'll see. It may
Yeah,
change, but
yeah,
like at the moment, it was like for a while nobody was like, oh no, I can't buy enough food.
Mhm.
Now things are getting very expensive, but like yeah, I mean there's plenty of cheap food out there. There's not a lot of like really good food. And in your guys' category, I don't think I've seen a brownie that's like shelf stable that's really good.
yeah.
Yeah.
We try to be
Mhm.
like a value add, so I think we weren't really trying to compete necessarily with like Little Bites. So they're probably one of the biggest in the section because I feel like they already have built out that whole system for those kind of products. That would be very like cheap. It'd be very hard to compete with that because they've already been doing that for like 10 years. So I think our product is like an add to the market where there is people who want that like slightly elevated basic, basically. So I mean,
Yeah, I mean, I think like the
yeah.
fundamentals, kind of like you were touching on there, Jimmy, is like in so many different categories, whether you look in ice cream, because I know you had like, Joe and Drew on who are doing a whole different functional play, which is awesome, but also raises quality elements. You have in like frozen categories, like we're friends with Damiano with Lupini. He's killing it, doing like a really high quality protein pizza. Even, like into like frosting and buttercream, we know live with frost buttercream. There are a lot of different categories that are starting to see a lot of big growth. And historically, obviously, Tate's and cookies. You go into like glow nuts now, going into the donut game. There's a lot of categories that have seen a lot of attention and focus on this quality, and for whatever reason, it just hasn't really hit the brownies, and especially in an accessible and easily reliable one. Because
I mean, I'm
we
kind of
live
not
in New York.
surprised, man.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
it's like people sort of ignore that stuff, and then
yeah,
also, if you look at the way like big food is operated, um, like nothing against them, there are quality products. By the way, I'll preface this with like Engelman's exists, right?
yep,
Like they
Yeah,
make
yeah.
really good donuts, and like
hmm
you can taste the difference between their donut and like if you were to go grab like a Hostess donut.
yeah,
No offense, Hostess, but your products are cheap, and that's what they're supposed to be. If you wanted them to taste good, maybe you'd make them more expensive and try harder. But like to your point, like no one has done that brownies at all. But I think people have just ignored it because they just assume the American consumer doesn't want to pay more.
Hmm.
Um,
yeah,
you guys are kind of unlocking the fact that like yeah, if you like go to any good restaurant, like people are totally willing to pay more for any like better food. That's just a fact. People just don't think about it in snacking, even though like snacking is not a need; it's a like choice, it's a want, and so like yeah, quality should matter a lot. Um, did that play into like you guys thinking like okay, this will work? Like what made you think like oh, this will work? Like people might want this.
Yeah, I remember reading, I think first of all, like a lot of innovation probably comes from like noticing a trend or like, some sort of like data, some sort of insight. And even like in the tech space or something like that, like if you have some sort of insight, you can like run with that. And then that's where you like build a product. And then after that, maybe like the company or brand. But I think that one piece of information, there was a bunch, but like was that a lot of Gen Z and other folks are like one of the main areas they love to buy like a little luxury is in snacking actually currently because they can't afford like houses. They got kind of like priced out of that area, and then even I guess like cars or whatever it is, other areas. So that was like a very easy place for them to like buy a slightly higher, good. And actually, Gen Z is actually the primary like shopper for their household. So like even like a lot of other parents and stuff, I guess they'll maybe like sit at home while the young kid who's like has more energy will go shop for them or something like that. So that was one of the stats. I remember I forget the exact percentage of like households,
yeah.
but
There was also like I think it
yeah.
was 80% of consumers want new mini desserts. We found some data on that, and 74% were interested in new chocolate desserts. So I mean, what
Hmm.
what other mini dessert that's chocolate is there except for brownie bites? So that seemed to hit that. And also, of course, I think with the rise of a lot of women going into like young professional workforce, especially in like coastal cities, there's a lot of interest in this mini dessert category, especially as Gen Z is predominantly more women from like college going to these professional, circumstances. So it's also providing access to consumers who want different products that they haven't necessarily had the capital for, or have historically been more prone to like focus on like kids or other elements in terms of like their dessert needs. And now we're trying to focus on like people our age who have this nostalgia for like little bites, for their mom or grandma's brownie recipe, and really sort of like packaging that and giving them that authentic experience. Because I think, like you said, it's obviously not a need, but it is like a want, and it is a real crave I think a lot of people in society have for these authentic experiences that really tie back to things they care about that they feel they kind of like lost over the years.
Yeah. Also, one more thing to add too is like we thought, I guess maybe our primary customer might be like a younger demographic, and I still think it is, but
Mhm.
like we actually saw a lot of older people too, like 6 year olds and stuff, who like love brownies. And I think, we don't try to fight that because
Mhm.
if those customers are naturally like gravitating towards, the offering you're providing, I mean, I think that's like a good thing. You probably want to like double click into that and play into it rather than, I don't know, be like, no, this product's not for you guys. It's for like trendy, young people or whatever it is. So we love all folks from all different ages and anywhere. So
Yeah. Yeah, and I think obviously like we're in our age cohort, so it's easier for us to reach out to them. We're
hmm
absorbing the information and sort of like the market as it is as we're growing up. But like again, our whole goal isn't to like hit any one consumer. It's to hit those consumers who want that authentic brownie experience because it reminds them of something or it opens up like new joy for them. Like it's really it's supposed to be for everyone. That's the point.
hmm
Yeah, it's funny. Jimmy was talking about, the restaurant space. People are willing to pay more for a premium product. Kind of a mutual guy we know, Matt Bodner. He's a owner of a hospitality group, and his insight on this was really interesting. I think you guys kind of hit on it with your product, which was consumers basically want one of two things right now. They either want a really high end luxury good that they're willing to
Mhm.
pay more for because they have a calorie budget, right? They can only eat so many calories in a day, so they're willing to pay more for those premium. If I'm going to get fries, I might as well get duck fat fries that are
hmm
$10 or $12 a serving or whatever. Or they're wanting super, super healthy, macro focused food, right? That they have to, probably eat 60, 70% of their calories on to, maintain whatever body composition they're shooting for. So I think
Mhm.
what you guys do is really smart, which was not try to be both. And too many products
Mhm.
try to
hmm
be both. And because of that, they kind of end up in the middle and they get crushed by the people that are specializing on either end of that spectrum. And I don't think, like you said, I don't think anyone's really done that in brownies yet, where they're focusing on the quality, the mouthfeel, and the texture of the product. That's kind of been ignored as people have gone more towards protein
Yeah,
everything.
Mhm.
hmm
they also seem to be doing the same thing you did with the pizza truck, Daniel, which is
hmm
like you have an insight into a
Yep.
market that other people don't see, and then you capitalize on it. Which, like, just give you guys backstory. Like, Daniel has a pizza truck. Everyone told him not to do it, including me. It was his second brand. He already has a brand. He already has a company. Like, we were like, don't do this. Um, but it turns out he just kind of knew because he was living in that market every single day,
hmm
like day in, day out. And so, like, after almost a decade doing that, he like knew like, well, like if I launch this Neapolitan pizza brand, like there are a few things that will make this work that
hmm
he just kind of knew and other people ignored. And I think you guys are in the same spot with the brownies. Like, you know, yeah, other people, and especially big companies, would have like ignored the fact that like, hey, maybe people want like a premium brownie.
hmm
Maybe they actually want that. Maybe they'll pay for it. Um, but they're just like, no, we don't want to do that because at big companies, you get fired for taking risks, and
hmm
you get promoted for hiring McKinsey. So
Yeah,
like,
sure.
here we are.
True, true. That's funny.
I have a total change of course. Jacob, you just graduated law school,
Yeah.
which I saw when I looked at your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Why are you doing this? Like what
You know,
what
I
what
yeah.
is wrong with you? I love it. I love it. If there's something wrong with me, but like what made you want to do this instead of say like I'm going to be a lawyer?
Yeah, I mean, so I won't say no to being a lawyer in part on the side just for fun stuff. But no, I mean the main thing for me fundamentally was it feels weird because I've always been someone who really hyper fixates on something for a while. Like I grew up in the event and food space. I didn't realize it was the food space until we started doing this basically. But my family does events in DC. They've grown up kind of as I've grown up into the sort of large scale sort of, touching all over the place event, our biggest one's in DC. Um, and I got really passionate about politics when I was a kid. I got like super involved in campaigns. I probably definitely have some like hyper focus issue. I would work on like 20 campaigns and I was like, the highest door knocker on like 12 of them. After that, I was like really into law stuff. So this guy who worked at this charity that my family was involved with, he was like, "Hey, you want to work at this firm for a week?" And I was like, I guess so, sure." And somehow I didn't do anything wrong because they go like, "You want to come back this summer?" And I love big picture ideas and how things connect in things. So even though it doesn't seem like it going into the brownie space, it's like touching on all these things. Like my background in food and events has played a big role in us being able to do experiential marketing. My background in law has helped us on like, contract stuff. Obviously, I can't do legal advising for us because I'm not a lawyer. But, having the JD at least helps me talk to lawyers better or at least understand these broader concepts. And it feels like all of it in a weird way has led towards me with the brownies and obviously with Jack. So I mean, like our paths really have sort of like crossed at a lot of different points, and it sort of makes a clear picture for doing brownies, even though it seems like crazy from the outside.
Yeah. I'll mention.
Jacob, what did you do before?
Oh,
Oh,
me
Jack.
or Jack?
Or I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
Jack.
Oh,
Jack,
yeah. No,
sorry.
no worries. I know we have both of our names, so that's
Your
confusing.
both your names are there, and I was like,
Yeah. Well, I
I'm
was
not
about to
super
mention
why.
too that we always had an interest in food because we met freshman year in college at
Hmm.
American University, Washington, D.C. In the dorms, we were just on the same
Hmm.
floor, by chance. And then senior year, like we were friends and we were in like a friend group with all these friends, but we tried to make protein ice cream. And I feel like we were kind of early in that. That was like
That
in
was 2020,
yeah,
yeah.
2020
Yeah,
or like
early
even like
2020.
yeah, around that time. So I obviously we have other great people who probably even maybe did a better job, like Froco, with like Smear Case
Hmm.
and some other people. But we always had that interest in food. I went off after that and worked in like tech sales, and then while I was there, I worked at this company Twilio. They're a pretty big like public company in like San Francisco. They acquired this company too, Segment, and they focus on it's called a CDP, so it's like a customer data profile. So it's a tool to build out these like holistic profiles of like what a customer really likes and enjoys, I guess. So if you maybe like the color orange, Nike can target you with like orange shoe ads on the side of like a screen or like other stuff like that. And then I actually moved over to this other marketing tech company that was called Upfluence. They do influencer marketing, and people would use it to, look at past campaigns influencers did with other brands, or like be able to find like foodie influencers in New York City that have like 60% audience that's female, 27 to, I don't know, 30 or whatever that follows them. So I thought that was really interesting because I was meeting with a lot of like direct to consumer brands and e-com brands, and I kind of saw like what was working and what wasn't. And I was like, oh, makeup is really good, but I'm a guy, so I'm not going to do that. And then like there was like, some other stuff like there was a lot of like dog stuff people would sell, like, dog toys or whatever, because dogs are really cute and like photogenic. But I was like, oh, food, it looks very like visually appealing online, like especially desserts. So I thought that was interesting. So I was like telling Jacob about it too while he was in law school, and he's like, I don't, like maybe he wasn't like against
Yeah.
it super, but he was like,
Yeah.
obviously doing like law stuff. Um, but then we eventually, I don't know, we got like I went to one of his family's events in the food space, and we brought some brownies, and we had like packaged.
Yeah, we actually got them off Vistaprint, so we actually have some mock-ups of this is like our very original package, so it's like a really
It looks a
cheap
lot
one.
Wait,
but
wait. So you guys had already been like messing with this before that event? Like
A
what?
little for
Did
like
you
two
guys just
months
did you guys just
softly,
get
yeah.
together at like each? Did you go to someone's house and just say like let's make some brownies?
I
Like
mean,
how
I
did
mean,
that
honestly,
happen?
most of it was on
it was,
like Discord and FaceTime. We were just like talking, and we're like, "Fuck it, I guess we're doing a
yeah.
brownie
That
company."
was around like,
And then yeah.
yeah, the ice cream stuff started 2020. The
Mhm.
brownie stuff, like after the, working in tech, that was like more like 2024 or 5, like ish.
Yeah.
So it was a couple months ago. Anyways, that was some
That's
background. So I
awesome.
feel like I was like telling Jake about it while he was in like law school a little bit. And then like, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
then we ended up, I guess eventually one thing led to another and we ended up doing it. And we were already getting some success before he finished law school. So he's flying a lot
Yeah, I
back and
actually, yeah,
forth.
my last year, I effectively spent like 2 days a week in St. Louis, and then I would fly out here. Gotta shout out Delta; they had fantastic point deals. So it was like $60 to fly here and back, so it was like
That's
manageable,
Well,
awesome.
and it
one
was honestly cheaper than living here like I do now. So
one thing that really helped us too is like I just randomly applied to Pop-Up Grocer because the place I worked at was literally a block away from Pop-Up
mhm.
Grocer. It's a pretty new place to Pop-Up Grocer. I think it's only
I
been around for
I
like
love them so much.
yeah,
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 They
yeah.
rock.
Shout out
Yeah.
Emily, Nicole, the
yeah,
whole
yeah. They're
team's awesome.
great. So they've only been around I think for like 2 or 3 years. Or, I don't know, somewhere around
Dude,
that
I
time.
think they've been around. They may have been around longer than that. We were
Okay,
Yeah,
in one of
maybe
their
I
I
don't know.
first
think it's been like three or
rotations.
4 years in the store. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, maybe three or
Yeah,
four
yeah.
years in this store space. So then I would walk by the store because it's only a block away, and then I applied online, and we only had these like digital renderings still around the time, And we actually got accepted in, which is like super cool. And I know their whole ethos is kind of to like get early brands in, launch them, and then yeah, I mean
Mm.
that's where we met a lot of these other people, like Joe from Smearcase or Damiana from Lupini. They hosted an event and they're really great. So that also helped convince, I guess, Jacob because it wasn't like we had nothing to
No,
go with. It
I
was
was
like,
in already. Come on, don't be like
yeah, yeah,
that.
yeah. But
No, I mean, I think, and I do have to shout out to Pop Up again, like we already did, because it really provided a basis for community for us. And like our brand, a key element we
mhm.
haven't touched on that much, but like tied to the authenticity elements is community. It's so important, I think, in every aspect of life, especially now when people are so sort of locked away behind phones, behind whatever it is that's like keeping them occupied all the time. To have some like grounding and like actual human connections that are like more than just like a passing high on the street, which you don't even get in New York. So it's like, having pop up, getting to know a lot of new brands there who are all new founders who are all kind of at the same starting point in their journey. Really was a tremendous step for us, I think, in like building out our relations both in New York, of enriching our lives a lot. And I think that's also kind of what we want to share with people who enjoy our products, of like these community activations and engagement that we one day want to do like across the country and really provide people that sense of like, it's just a brownie product at the end of the day. But the feelings and the sentiments behind it can be so grounding and important for people, especially when they're going through hard times, like a lot of people are.
Definitely. Well, I found interesting is is it Jack?
Jack on the left side,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Jack.
Yeah.
No worries.
You touched on, you kind of worked in the digital space, right? And
Mhm.
that's kind of where you derived some of this insight into product categories
Hmm.
that kind of led you to, hey, maybe we'll niche down to, to brownies. But you guys didn't go with a digital first strategy. Like you didn't
Hmm.
become a DTC brand, which, kind of coming from that world, that's maybe what I would have expected from you. And you look at, Prime, is it Prime Bites?
Yeah,
That
yeah,
they're
yeah.
doing, yeah, TikTok
Yeah,
first,
yeah. Mhm.
kind of a TikTok first strategy. You guys decided to go CPG. So what informed that decision to like, hey, we're not going to be like a DDC brand, doing e-com. We're actually going to be on the store shelf, given that your expertise was kind of more in that digital space.
Yeah. I mean, actually, I think the main thing is we intended to. So we really meant
Oh, really?
to go online, and we actually do sell slightly online, but 90% of our, traffic has been coming from in store. So we launched in that pop-up grocery store, and then at the same time, we threw up like a website. We had
Mhm.
Shopify, and we had a lot of demand and pull actually from even other grocery stores being like, "Hey, we saw this in pop-up grocer." Again, that's why they're a great springboard and like, launch pad.
Mhm.
Obviously you're not going to get as many sales as like a huge grocery store because it's like a very small boutique kind of place, but so many people found us from there, even like a very big account, I guess, like Home Goods. I'll
Yeah.
mention they have a bunch of stores they put us in. So we just kept playing like demand catch up, basically. Like we kept trying to scale stuff for these stores that were, interested, and then we're already like, oh, we're in a lot of stores, like maybe let's keep expanding these stores. They're paying us up front rather than
Mhm.
having to pay for like shipping, running ads at the same time, like running an influencer marketing campaign. That's like a lot of upfront budget compared to like someone, paying you in advance or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, in total honesty, to Jack's point, it's just been like nonstop retail, man, which is like a great thing to have. Obviously, and we're very fortunate for that. I think another part, because we are in like 500 stores nationally, but about 300 of those stores are in New York. A big part for us is like being in New York, having the sense of community. I mean, New York obviously is getting a lot of like, it's really sort of coming back into, it's not never like in cultural prominence, but like it's really coming back to being like the predominant space where things are just happening in the country again. So really sort of taking ownership of that and like associating the brownies in the sense of like authenticity and community with the place that honestly probably has the most community and authenticity in the country right now. And sort of using that as a springboard that like people come into New York or they're in New York and they're like, wow, I see these brownies everywhere. Like we have people every day texting us being like, oh my God, I saw it at my local bodega. Oh, I saw it at Fairway. Oh, I saw it at Cinderella, wherever it is. So like using like New York as a basis, authentically having the heart of it and sort of using it because it has such a fantastic background of like a diversity of different perspectives, religions, races, like everyone's sort of in New York in some capacity. Obviously, they're different consumers than a lot of the country, but you can get a lot of these big consumer trends, see where they apply in New York, and then expand nationally, being able to pay attention to different trends because the city just has so many people in it.
Mm-hmm.
So we really, part of that basis of being something like a product for everyone is sort of using the strength that New York has of being such a diverse background of so many different people in so many different places because there's people from all over the world here. and using that as a means of like figuring out where the brownies will fit and then applying it to every other environment we can.
Yeah, I'll say one thing too. Jacob always gets me thinking as he's saying stuff. Like, there's a thing or two I'll add. Like, it's cliche, but they say if you make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. I kind of do believe that. I think there's even like 15,000 like different grocery chains or something like that, or like
I think
different.
it's like 16,000.
Yeah, yeah, like in New York City, which is like nuts. So it's like
Yeah.
I think you could
I mean,
literally
you
make.
guys have like a little micro economy that's like the size
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
entire regions of the United States, and it's just like one little area. I
yeah,
mean, think about it. Like we're both in Nashville right now.
Mhm.
I'm back and forth between Nashville and Montana. Montana has 1 million people in it.
yeah,
It's a tiny little place, but it's gigantic. Like geographically, Canada has 30 million people in it.
yeah, yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's 30 million people in New York.
Yes, it feels like
And
it's great.
I know the city's got to have like 17. Like I'm pretty sure the state, like where you're at, tri-state area, you guys can easily access 30 million people like that. Geographically, super close. Tennessee, I think has like 4 or 5 million people.
Mhm.
Like it's like you're getting access to this really cool thing, and because of what you've got going on, yeah, there are local stores that can just buy the product in. Like here, when I was getting started in Nashville, I had like 12 stores were like my options for like local stores. I got into all of them in like 2 weeks, and I was like, we'll see what happens. Like it's not as like vibrant, and I think to that aim, like dude, I ended up going to Chicago a lot and like selling into like that community because I was like that has like some of the same like vibe, where you have like at least there's probably like 30 different grocery stores that you could choose from, but you
Yeah.
guys have like just this cool opportunity to like actually make it in a place where I think most brands I'm genuinely a believer now that like I think most brands should start up in the area that you guys are in because it gives you access to so much like local traction.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I'll say the other thing, I think one way we thought about it, Jacob in the past, he actually brought me on one of those like political campaigns. So he like looped me into it. I was knocking with, we actually had another friend there too. We were like knocking around on different doors and stuff like that. That was in DC. But I think learning from that, and maybe it was in our subconscious because we didn't even like talk about it a lot, but like I feel like the grassroots coalitions where you kind of build these like small, it's a network, right? Like these small different like communities. You try not to like have gaps in that like webbing. So you're like, New York City, we're focused on that area primarily, building it up so it's very strong. So we have like all the different stores here built out rather than doing like a couple in, Montana, a couple in like Canada, a couple, LA or something like that. So
Yeah, I mean, we don't say no. Obviously, we have like Fair and Air Goods. We always
hmm
love working with new stores. And again, like our goal is to be like a really accessible national chain. Obviously we want to make money with it as a company, but like more importantly, we think it's really something that a lot of people could enjoy and get joy from.
hmm
Like I think my biggest feeling of success is when we do samplings. Like a ton of times people are like, "Oh my God, this reminds me of my grandma's brownies or my mom's brownies," or they would just like get a smile on their face and like walking around the store and they leave and they're like, "Thank you so much," and they like buy some bags. Um, and it's really, I think, just like touching on that sense of authenticity and community. And like you were saying about building where you're local, like every community has a lot of strength to it. We just feel like for what our goals are, we're trying to use this strength and say, even in a place like New York, that a lot of people from across the country might be like, oh, it's too big. There's too much going on there. It's so confusing. And like really being like, no, it's just a whole bunch of communities. It's a bunch of people together, just like every other community. It's just sort of like on steroids and using that sort of basis as like a springboard into like being accessible in every community in the country.
Yeah, obviously New York has, an insane ecosystem. You guys found community in the brands and pop up, and my question is obviously with an ecosystem like that, there's a lot of VC and, a lot
Mhm.
of, a lot of brands, have that early decision. Do we bootstrap? Do we raise a pre-seed round? So what did you guys do? Did you guys raise? Are you guys bootstrapped? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we have had a lot of interest, which is always great, and we really appreciate it. The big thing for us is maintaining true to what our product is. So again, it's that flavor first, it's giving you the authentic brownie. And our concern is, if we go with a partner who doesn't necessarily have the aligned interest with us, and they just want it to become a big company without focusing on that part of it, we don't really want to give up that sort of element of control. So we've decided to go bootstrap. We did do a very small friends and family round because we're buying some machinery actually, because we use like custom Italian pans and obviously like all this like extra stuff that honestly makes it a whole lot harder, but like you can't make the product quality without like, these
Yeah.
extra steps.
We tried
Yeah.
with these metal pans, and like the brownies weren't coming out the same. So we
Yeah.
got like we went back to the Italian pans because it just had a different texture, which is like interesting. Even the pan like would make a difference compared to like ingredients or other stuff like that, or like even the time changed in the or the temperature changed.
Yeah, and
So
they're
it's
very
interesting.
very expensive too. But it's like it's the sort of like investments we're making because we really believe in this authentic take on a brownie and trying our best to achieve it at like a mass market scale.
Hmm.
So are you guys working with a co-man? Are you making these yourself? Like, what does that
Hmm.
look like?
Yeah,
Yeah, so it would have, I mean, honestly, it would have been kind of cool to do it on our own. Just given the scale that we're growing at, though, I mean, we're in like 500-ish stores right now in 7 months. So it's definitely been pretty quick, and we've slowed down, if anything, because we're investing in some specialty machinery with them too,
hmm,
to allow us to expand more.
yeah.
But like we have a fantastic production partner, but it also would have been cool if we were small enough that we could have done the artisanal. But you can't scale that, so it's cool that we're working, and we have a fantastic production partner, so we're very happy.
Yeah, we started with one co-man, and then
Hmm.
he was great. We love him. He like sold his business and even tried to set us up, like introduce us to a person or two. But around that time, we knew like we were gonna. He was like more mom and pop, anyways. So we were interested in just like looking to a partner that could like be there long term or like forever almost. Like
Yeah,
and we found a bigger one in Massachusetts in Boston, and they're really nice. It's like fourth generation owned and run,
yeah.
and they're just like really nice people.
Risers up there, Jimmy. There's a
Yeah.
network. There's an ecosystem
There's
up there.
plenty of people up in Boston that are doing lots of cool stuff. No, that's really cool that you guys found a good co-man.
Mhm.
I hear a lot of horror stories from most
Same.
founders at your stage. So, and I had my own horror stories. I
Yeah.
think like most people have that trip up at some point, but yeah, to nail that is such a big deal. And so like the pans and stuff you guys are buying, you're buying it in partnership with them, right? That's cool. It's really cool they're letting you do that as well. Like you're like actually like getting the chance to like I don't know like just change the process to what you need it to be. A
Hmm.
lot I've found like a lot of co-men are like not open to like having the conversation, or they're just like, hey, this is the way we do things. Like, please just do it our way.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Which
no,
is
they're
fair.
yeah, it's really nice because honestly, they told us they reject like 90% of people to work with them, and they really felt that we're like another company they have in their like who they're producing for, who's just killing it nationally.
Hmm.
So I mean, it's really nice to have a company that's producing like, geez, I can't even imagine how many like tens of thousands of pounds they produce, and they're like working with our small brownie company where we're maybe filling a truck up now. So it's
I
pretty
think,
cool.
yeah, don't
Yeah,
they get like 80 applications each month or something like
something like
that? And
that.
That's
they're
crazy.
saying, yeah, they reject
Yeah,
most of them. And they're like bigger companies than us, but they saw like potential. They actually worked with some other small companies similar to us that's like grown a lot.
yeah.
So that was cool. So they see the potential there. And they actually focus too on having like a handmade kind of taste or homemade
Hmm.
feel to their products. So that and they're a baker, so we really like that because that
Yeah.
kind of like lined up. And they actually even have like a head pastry chef who's like really great and had a good background. So they have that kind of like homemade flair still.
Hmm.
And then automate the other parts that like are more like meticulous. So it has like a blend of like you still get the quality, but like have the I don't know production capacity or yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, what we think too is like to create an authentic product like this, you can't just go in with a normal automated process and work it around. Like the process has to be built up around the product. So it's been really important for us at every step, between going to the stores, like going for every production run, going in and doing R&D directly with them, not like hiring anyone, like really getting to understand the process and work with the team rather than just be like, oh, solve this for us has really helped us like understand how we can scale this business and seeing the viability of it long term.
Yeah.
So you guys bootstrapped. You're working with a co-man. So I guess you're cash flow positive at this point. Is that where you're at? I mean, are
We're
we are we, are we
we're
burning capital?
we're moving in a pretty good direction on that. I mean,
Nice.
Yeah.
we're really close to. We're investing in some machinery. Obviously, we're
Sure.
moves it
Right.
away from that, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
doing really well. We're very happy.
Yeah, I was
That's
gonna
incredible.
ask you guys. I have a lot of people ask me this question, and I feel like I'm not necessarily like the best person to answer it, and I also don't think like even Daniel is like the best person to answer it. People will come to me who are like closer to your stage, and they'll be like, "Hey, I want to start this brand," or like, "We're scaling." Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to like quit my job, take the leap,
Hmm.
like fund it, like make it work. What has that process been like for you guys? Because you're still like in it. You're like in year one,
Hmm.
figuring it out. starting to scale, like, are you guys just like living on literally like no money at all? Like how are you making it work? And then like in your own head, like where do you guys think you're headed? Like in what direction? Like what are like your plans for the future, I guess?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'll say a couple of things. Like I feel like the first thing, even before that question, is really like how fast slash big do you want the business to be? Obviously, most people are gonna be like, yeah, I want like $5 billion business, like you know what I mean? But you should like really like think about that question for a second because I think the main difference of a startup is like the velocity it grows at, right? That's the difference between a mom and pop shop, even in tech too, like you know, I guess, but it's really the velocity, like how fast you're growing at what rate. And typically, if you're growing very fast, you need more capital, like typically, I would say. So that's like the first thing. But so I think we were like have been profitable, but then there's like some areas where we were like, wow, if we invest right now in this area, we can grow even faster. And then that's why we raised a small like friends and family round. One, we're probably gonna do some of the machinery to even like lower the cogs because that's great for you know the customers as well as like yeah like making more profit. But like just helping you know customers get that best quality product they can for as cheap of a price as they can. But I think the other area is yeah, just like I don't know. I kind of lost my
Yeah.
train of thought
I
halfway
mean,
through, but
I'd say the first thing, I mean, I think both Jack and I are pretty fortunate too,
oh
from where
true.
we started. I mean, we really have bootstrapped this. This has been our
Mm-hmm.
own money. We both worked for it. I think personally, there's no shame if someone has a lot of money from their family. You
Totally.
can use it. Like use whatever you have. But like we don't want to have the mystique that like we're not going to claim that we like rose up and we're like doing lemonade stands outside for like 20 years. Like we worked a few years. We had really supportive families that helped our education, which was tremendous. And I think it's something that like we don't want to hide from people and be like, oh yeah, we just like magically appeared and like we're struggling with like, you know, like we didn't come from fortunate backgrounds.
Hmm.
When it comes from like our personal spending, we both worked for a few years. While I was in law school, I was working full time still. Jack has been working full time for like 4 years.
Hmm.
And, you know, we really just felt that we are confident enough in the brand in the direction we were going in and like the spirit of the product we're doing and the product itself that like we could make that leap. We had saved up enough money over time and we really were committed to investing our money and knowing, you know, this could go to zero. That's, you know, it's a risk you got to take.
Hmm.
So if someone is founding a company, I think there's absolutely no shame in continuing to do your day job. I think there's honestly there's too much of a glorification people have and like I'm quitting it, I'm risking everything. I think it's great to do. You know, we did that. I'm not going to be a lawyer. Jack's not working in tech sales now.
Hmm.
Um, but you know, it's not. I don't think it's something you should do just to do it. I think you really have to see like the direction that you're going in. You have to see the velocity, like an honest assessment of where the company wants to be. And I think also
Hmm.
responsibility too. Like if you want to get to that, like, geez, like $5 billion valuation, even like a $50 million valuation or $100 million valuation, sell out there like you have a lot of people who you're responsible for. At the end of the day, like we already have like hundreds of people who work with us, whether it's our distributor, our broker, our, you know, our production partner. Like there are people who are not in as fortunate a position as us who, you know, may not have made these risks, but also may not be able to make those risks, who still rely on the decisions that we make in part. So
Hmm.
I think as you scale up and as you grow, I think you have to think about other people too. And I think that comes from our like genuine view on like community and what it means. It's not just about the people you choose to surround yourself to like aspire to be like, oh, I want to be like Jeff Bezos or anything. Like there's community all around you. It's like everyone you talk to every day, whether it's like an Uber, you know, someone who works on the subway, you know, of any of the bodegas we work in. They're part of our community too, just because it isn't as like flashy and easy to promote on here. Like there's a lot of responsibility already at this stage we have. And as you keep scaling, like any company should be responsible and think of like the people that are left behind if you make this move that's impulsive or like doesn't pay attention to the fundamentals.
Hmm.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And like that's something that I think a lot of people don't necessarily think about is that like as you do grow, as you like build something, even at the early stages, especially in consumer goods, like you are impacting and affecting quite a few people. You have
Hmm.
all of your retail partners, your
Mm-hmm.
manufacturing partner, all the people that work for you, like directly, people that work for you indirectly, like your broker, whoever else might be like on your team. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, you do get to a point down the road that I have been to multiple times where I'm like, oh no, like these people feed their families because of me, and that's terrifying. Hate that. I mean, it's great, but it's also like
It's
that
it'll
level of
keep you up at night.
responsibility is trippy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's also good to like hear you guys say like, yeah, we like worked our jobs, we saved up money, we had supportive families. You knew there was a little bit of a safety net there. I feel like Megan and I were in a similar spot where like we were very young and we saved up a little bit of money. Honestly, we just took out like a shit ton of credit cards also, and we said like, hey, like we can figure out how to like runway this thing. And then like I always feel weird talking about it because I'm like, I did that in 2017. Yes, the world is more expensive now. So like it was a little different of a situation, but we also knew that like, yeah, if it does go to zero, like I'm just gonna start over. Like I'm 23. I was 23 years old. Like what is possibly gonna happen?
Yeah.
I think more people need to think about it like that as well. And that may be ridiculous advice to give out, but it's like, hey, like the worst thing that's gonna happen is like you're just gonna kind of start back at square one, and square one wasn't that bad because you were there at one point. Everybody was there. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, also
definitely
you're
it's
not necessarily at square one. Like you did just do the thing and then it failed.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that like Jack and I talk about all the time, and like we talk about with a bunch of other friends, is this is a whole lot cheaper than like business school or undergrad was.
Yeah.
You know, like going through like, you know, I want to be clear, we have not spent like, I mean, we've put like, you know, money into it. Obviously, it's real money. But, like, it's not like we're out here with like, you know, putting in like $500,000 or any like crazy amount of money. Like we've been like extremely bootstrapped. I mean, like Jack did our first design, I did the copyright. We're doing a redesign, but that's because we're working with a fantastic team who's giving us like 95% off their normal rate because they really like see it as like a new like innovative product they really want to have their name on, which is awesome. Like at any point we're trying to find those long-term partners because we really believe in our long-term success, but it's also recognizing like we currently are not in a position where we can just like go and spend like $1 million on stuff or like anything close to that.
I think that makes you guys scrappier and like honestly like long term probably better at operating a business though. Like so many people like come out here. I hate dude, I despise and I'll say this and like whoever watches this like fuck you. I hate when people raise money pre-revenue. It is the stupidest, most ridiculous, unless it's friends and family, unless it's like, we're going to get going, let's raise $50,000 or like $100,000. The people that come out here and raise like $2 million pre-revenue, I'm like, I want to smack you. Or the people that are like, it takes $10 million to build a brand.
Yeah,
It takes $50 million of primary capital. I'm like, okay, well, that's a shit company. Because Facebook, which is a $1 trillion company, raised $20 million of primary capital. If you are a food product and you're out here raising $100 million, what's wrong with you? You're just lighting money on fire for fun. I have strong feelings about that. But like, I think it makes people better operators when they're like, hey, I'm going to actually like take the resources available to us, see if this thing works, like bet our own money, and then like, yeah, we'll raise money when we have traction, or maybe we'll never raise money and we'll just, you know, make this thing go. Chobani didn't raise money. I'd like to remind everyone that Chobani, which is a massive, enormous company, I'm sure they've raised a little bit at this point. They haven't gone public yet. Someone...
No.
So. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, guy still owns like 95% of it, and it's like multiple billions in revenue. He's doing well. He bootstrapped the whole entire thing. I'm like, please come at me and tell me your ridiculous story about how we all need to raise money. Like,
It's funny.
I probably not. It will make you go faster, to your guys' point. But like, yeah, I mean, it makes you scrappier. It makes you make better decisions.
Yeah, I think it's more adding to, you want to have like a rocket ship that's already going to the moon and then you add on like some fuel and stuff. Like you shouldn't like use the money to make you like take liftoff or something like that. Like, you know, you don't need that $50 million just to get up in orbit. You want to already be launched and up there, you know, and then add the extra fire.
Yeah, and it's just making you more efficient. Like, it's inefficient to like use money to like prove something out, because you've seen this actually, like working in marketing or like working in tech and like supporting marketing, you realize that like, yeah, if you have enough money, you can for sure get some people to buy your thing. But like, that's not product market fit. Product market fit is like you guys going down to the bodega, putting the product on the shelf, people pulling it off the shelf, and then the same people coming back and being like, where are the brownies?
100%.
When was that first moment for you guys, by the way? Like, when was the moment that you knew you had product market fit?
I
Okay, I actually think it was last year when we had the like plastic cheap bags from Vistaprint.
Hmm.
We were at my one of my family events and we brought it out for like, like close family friends to try out. We just had them in there. I hadn't even given them to anyone, and someone already tried the brownies and was like had eaten a whole bag. And they were like, "Where did you get these? These are so good." And I was like, "Oh, that's like Jack and I's company." And they were like, "What?" And they were like actually shocked. They refused to believe it until I like sent them stuff a week later. They like refused to believe it wasn't our company. I'm like, wait, it's like our thing. They're like, this is a prank, right? There's no way you actually got this. This is from like a bakery or something. So I think it was an idea, just like really seeing someone like so associate so quickly with a brand, even when it was like in a very cheap thing that literally said like not FDA or USD approved sample product and like warnings on there and everything. Like the fact that they really love the product that much, and then just seeing that happen over and over again is really, you know,
Hmm.
just so from day one basically.
Yeah, I think there's like different moments, and then they like add up over time. Like there's one, yeah, the home goods people bought like an insane amount of products. Like they focus on like bulk, and then within like 5 days, they called us and they were like, "Hey, we need more," and we're like, "What?" Like that was like so many brownies we just sent over. Like that was like actually pretty nuts to us.
Yeah.
Within 5 days, they already had like a bunch of sales, but they have like so many stores. Like, they have over like 1,000 stores. We weren't, I don't think, in all 1,000 stores, but so that's how I guess how they're able to like get so many people already like buying them with such like distribution. But that was really cool. That's like one moment.
Yeah, talking about distribution, who are you guys working with? Because you mentioned like getting paid up front, which doesn't always happen in this business,
Oh, that's
right?
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah, like
30
how's
day.
that working for you
Yeah.
guys?
No,
Yeah,
no.
that's true too
So
about the 30-day. I guess I
yeah.
meant more when I said upfront too, I meant more like even well, some of the bodegas will pay you upfront, and then we work with this distributor. They're called
Mm.
Gold Coast. They're really great. They focus on just New York City. They're small. So we actually that's pretty much the only one right now we currently work with. We're looking into others,
Yeah,
but
we're talking with some bigger operators. We'll have updates there soon.
but
But we're entering like shop right now too in Jersey, so that's an exciting
mhm.
one.
What?
But so far Gold Coast has been our primary one in New York who's done a lot, and then we've had a lot of direct store distribution to like, outside
Yeah.
areas.
But I meant too with like the 30-day, like I know like net 30 and stuff like that, just like that you can still get like a wholesale of like a certain amount of cases or whatever compared to like online you typically I guess would just like pay for ads first and then like you have to pay for shipping and then like the product sent and then you'll get maybe the money back. That's just like more of like process at scale because that's just for like one
Mhm.
sale and then I feel like you have to do like 10K of marketing spend to get some of those sales. So it's like more of an upfront capital risk. It feels like more of a risk, right? Because you don't know for sure if
Totally.
you buy it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
also to your point on a previous episode, Daniel, like some of the best marketing you can do, like some of the best marketing you can do is like in person. Like
Yep.
the product is there, it just happens to be there and it markets for itself. And I feel like that's kind of what's happening to you guys. Like you're in pop up grocer, everyone knows that pop up grocer is a great place to discover products. They discover your thing. Suddenly you're in home goods, which is epic. And I was just going to congratulate you. I think it's insane that you reached 500 stores without having like Unify or KeHE or some
Yeah.
other like nonsense distributor like backing you.
Mm.
Um, so many of us in our industry like rely on this ridiculous channel, which is like I'm gonna get in Unify or KeHE via Sprouts or Whole Foods
Mm.
specifically. And then I'm going to use that relationship in order to like build out the independent and natural channel. And then I'm going to like pray that this works because that seems to be the path that everybody takes. And like so often the best brands I talk to and the best operators had like a really interesting story like yours where like it grew organically and then you found channels like Home Goods is random, guys.
Mhm.
It's random and
Yeah.
epic. I would love to know what the velocity is because like that's the type of stuff that I think makes great brands is that they find the place where they can succeed where no one else is like killing it.
Mhm.
And like that makes you like so much more dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that goes to our approach too of like really trying to think about like how we want to access consumers authentically and organically, and then build up from there. I mean, I think it's fantastic channels. We're really trying to go again for more of a mass conventional while having access to these more premium ones. But our view is that volume is what's able to help us fight like inflation, rising cocoa
Hmm.
prices, all of that. So
Hmm.
we focus more on volume plays rather than on specialty plays, even though we are in a lot of fantastic, great like specialty markets like Butterfield, which is our top like individual account, which they're crushing it there. Really focusing on just where we can get more brownies out the door so we can increase our volumes on production, which lowers our overall cost, which we pass on to consumers.
Hmm.
Like that's like our whole thinking on it. It's not like, oh, we're trying to be different to be different. We're trying to do whatever we can do to provide like value to the consumer so they can try our product and then hopefully enjoy and keep buying our product.
Yeah, I think it ties into the mass market. We're not just trying to be an Air One. So I think, we know some pure brands, not in like, no shade or anything, but I think they're like, sometimes it feels like they're only trying to be in like Air One, but I'm like, how are you going to make money if you're only in like 10 stores or something? I don't know.
Well,
So,
you'll find quickly after doing this for, probably 5 years that like most of the operators, brands, like everything else, like just turns over like 95%.
yeah.
It's kind of sad. It's also kind of hilarious.
Yeah, that is.
It's it's funny but not funny. Yeah, people do build their brands to your point, Jack. Like they build them to like go to Erewhon, go to Whole Foods, and then they forget that like that customer may or may not be their end game. And like their
Yeah.
end game may be, to your point, like Poppy or Olipop or like
Hmm.
the things that they did to be different because they started with like, for instance, like we're an apple cider vinegar. I can't remember which one of them it was, but it was like apple cider vinegar soda. It
Mhm.
was Mom's, right? I think. And then they totally rebranded to be more
Yeah.
approachable. And it's like you at a certain point have to sell. You can't sell on like ingredient, and you can't necessarily sell on like this like weird trendy thing that's just not going to work in the mass market. You have to be more thoughtful, and I think you guys have like so far it seems like you're doing that, which is pretty cool. So tell us a little bit more about like what is next for you guys, like anything exciting coming up in the next few months, and then we can wrap it up.
Yeah, so I mean, we just entered some pretty big markets in New York, so like Fairway, Gourmet Garage, Cinderella, which we're really excited about. We're entering ShopRite, so that's going to be our first like mass play on conventional. The holidays are coming up, so we're pretty bullish on how we're going to perform. We have a 4 SKU coming out that'll be holiday themed, which we're really excited about. Looking into the new year, we're trying to do the 1 pack, so working on some flow wrappers for that to really make sure it's like the right size to give the authentic experience, just like in our big bags. And really just trying to like hit a lot more channels, so we're taking D2C much more seriously, back to Jack's experience. And just keep trying to grow out, lower those cogs, trying to become a national brand in 2026.
Yeah. Potentially to the one wraps, we'll
Yeah.
we'll get out. Yeah, the single wrap. That's like a
Awesome.
highlight for me, hopefully.
All right, where can people like connect with you guys, like follow you, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I mean,
Instagram
yeah, we're on
and
LinkedIn
LinkedIn, yeah.
personally. Instagram, Byte'm Brownie is our best one. We're on TikTok too. I think it's Byte'm
At
Brownie
Byte'm
is on
Brownie.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, most of our content is on Instagram just because that's what we kind of grew up with.
Mhm.
Honestly, so part of my stuff in law school is data privacy, so I'm terrified of social media. But, like when you have a brand that's more about the accessibility, so what if Mark Zuckerberg knows I love brownies? Um, so yeah, you can reach us on there. We're also always happy to talk with anyone in the industry or who's interested in it or who just loves it. We've
Mhm.
had so much support in the community. Thank you guys for having us on the
Yeah,
podcast
thank you
too.
guys.
Absolutely.
We
I
as much as we
I
give, like we want to get. I mean, as much as we
dude,
get, we want to give. So
yeah, I love the CPG community, and you guys were talking about how kind of like you had a good experience with like pop-up grocery in the beginning.
Hmm.
That same sort of thing happened to me when we pivoted from like doing just like restaurants to like doing CPG.
That's
Like I,
awesome.
I had a few like good experiences where it's like I met other people that were kind of like, I don't know if I'd consider them like maybe like in my class, like the same like year that I started, they started. It'd be like like Jake from Midday Squares, like a lot of other people that were like
mm,
kind of same age as me, doing the same thing. We were founded the same year.
Hmm.
We bonded over a lot of like very interesting things at the beginning, and I think it's been cool to see the people that have like continued on, which is not many of us. Um,
mm.
and and that's just kind of the name of the game. But like I have loved it, and I've loved how supportive people are. So, I'm glad that you guys had that experience. All
Hmm.
right, I
Sweet.
guess let's wrap it up. By the way, this never went live. I don't know what the fuck is happening. It says connecting, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
maybe it'll connect when we're
All good.
done. Maybe
yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
connect when we're done, when it uploads, and then it'll go onto my link. If it doesn't, I'm just posting the video. Fuck it.
All right.
Sounds
All right.
good. Yeah, no,
Cool,
thank you
guys.
guys so much, though.
Thanks
This
for
was
coming
really
on the
great.
Yeah.
podcast.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. It was a
Yeah,
great
All right.
thanks for
episode.
yeah,
Stay
thanks for
stay
having me.
on stay on so it uploads. I'm gonna stop recording.
Yeah.